Mycoplasma fermentans incognita strain, an unusual organism that had been found previously in some AIDS patients by Dr. Shai-Ching Lo of the Armed Forces Institute of Pathology in Washington, D.C. We did not realize at the time that Dr. Lo had previously been employed at Baylor College of Medicine and Tanox Biosystems in Houston, a privately held biotechnology company that had been named in Desert Storm veterans lawsuits filed by Collard and Pitts, among others, as one of the companies that illegally sold biological weapons to Iraq. Dr. Nicholson, previously the chairman of cancer research and full professor at the University of Texas in Houston, went on to report how he was persecuted and academically blacklisted following his attempts to serve the public's health. Contrast this nightmare Dr. Nicholson lived through with Dr. Kano's matter-of-factly and incorrectly claiming the vaccinations given to troops were immunizations. In fact, for the sake of accuracy, evading for the moment the use of vaccinations to make people sick, the use of the two terms, vaccinations and immunizations, have been successfully confused by the government and industry propagandists. Immunizations and vaccinations are not the same. Vaccinations typically cause hypersensitization reactions, including allergies, asthma, autoimmune diseases, and with contaminants such as mycoplasma or frequently inoculated herpes-type viruses such as the Epstein-Barr virus, cancers can be triggered. Immunizations, on the other hand, are caused by natural exposures to foreign proteins that challenge our immune systems. The confusion persists simply because health officials and professionals acting as propagandists like Dr. Kano want people to believe that vaccinations prompt natural immunity, which they do not. With all vaccinations, whatever desirable sensitivity occurs against germs comes with great risks of side effects. Just read their package inserts, or a physician's desk reference, or Google search them to learn more about this sad truth. Now let's examine the source of the anthrax that Dr. Kano says woke us up to just how dangerous anthrax can be. According to experts investigating the anthrax mailings, this frightening attack and serial homicide was done with the help of America's own anthrax specialists, exclusively the two people Dr. Kano has introduced you to, Dr. William Patrick III and his CIA sidekick, Dr. Lebikov. How would I know this? I was the first science analyst to offer the FBI help in the case of the mysterious anthrax mailings. I began alerting officials 2 weeks prior to the media's first reported mailing. I was alerted by years of anthrax research and 2 segments of the ABC News with Peter Jennings, the nights of September 26th and 27th, 2001. Jennings ended his Wednesday night broadcast saying, quote, "Tomorrow, we're going to cover anthrax. We're going through your fears, one by one, day by day. Good night." Thinking this peculiar, and having done extensive research on the anthrax vaccine, I tuned into Thursday night's program, which turned out to be a virtual infomercial for Cipro. The Bayer Company was on the verge of bankruptcy, they said, prior to the broadcast. Their Cipro sold for more than $700 for a 60-day supply. Peculiarly, the FDA had made this poorly tested, highly toxic antibiotic the only endorsed method of treating anthrax. That was bizarre, because most doctors realized you could treat anthrax far less expensively with many other antibiotics. Bayer's infamous connection to IG Farben and the Nazi Rockefeller biomedical biowarfare cartel concerned me, so I contacted the FBI. Consistent with the nefarious connections between government investigators and drug industrialists, the FBI refused to respond to my urgent warnings and later pleas. The anthrax mailing operation, including the media's coverage of the mailings, sent Bayer stock soaring and approximately 30,000 people in the nation's capital alone to their local drugstores for this potion. Within 6 months, nearly 90% of those frightened people suffered brain damage, in many cases irreversible. This was reported in the Washington Times. The story by investigative journalist Kelly O'Meara was published in the paper's Insight magazine. By October 12, 2001, the FBI had posted a $1 million reward for valuable clues in the anthrax mailings mystery. It took the FBI 6 months to respond to my relentless communications. Then, rather than awarding me anything, even a simple thank you, FBI agents were dispatched to interrogate me as a suspect.
See this crap? Somebody knows I'm talking to you.
Not according to the men in blue.
Oh, what is it this time? Kiddie porn again? Sexual battery of a patient?
They want to discredit you for what?
Because I'm a dangerous man, because I know too much about the truth.
Now that end-of-the-world apocalyptic garbage you write?
You know my work? I was right about Dallas, wasn't I?
How were you right?
Are you familiar with the antivirus, Agent Mulder?
Yeah, it was a deadly virus spread by field mice in the southwestern United States several years ago.
According to the newspaper, FEMA was called out to manage an outbreak of the hantavirus. Are you familiar with what the Federal Emergency Management Agency's real power is? FEMA allows the White House to suspend constitutional government upon declaration of a national emergency. Think about that. What is an agency with such broad sweeping power doing managing a small viral outbreak in suburban Texas?
You're saying it wasn't such a small outbreak?
No. I'm saying it wasn't the hantavirus.
Well, what was it? What was it?
When we were young men in the military, your father and I were recruited for a project. They told us it was biological warfare, a virus.
What killed those men?
What killed them, I won't even write about. We have no context for what killed those men, or any appreciation of the scale at which it'll be unleashed in the future.
A plague?
A plague to end all plagues, Agent Mulder. A silent weapon for a quiet war. The systematic release of an indiscriminate organism for which the men who will bring it on still have no cure. They've been working on this for 50 years. While the rest of the world have been fighting gooks and commies, these men have been secretly negotiating a planned Armageddon.
Negotiating with whom?
I think you know. The timetable has been set. It'll happen on a holiday when people are away from their homes. The president will declare a state of emergency, at which time all government, all federal agencies will come under the power of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, the secret government.
They call me paranoid.
Go back to Dallas, Agent Mulder, and dig. Or we're gonna find out along with the rest of the country. When it's too late.
2 months after I urged the FBI to investigate Bayer and the sole anthrax vaccine maker, Bioport, LLC, the Washington Post reported that the Bureau was pursuing the possibility that financial gain was the primary motive behind the mailings. Washington Post writers Susan Schmidt and Joby Warwick reported on December 21st that the FBI was probing at least 2 military-industrial contractors that shipped the specified mailed anthrax powder. The first was the Army's Dugway Proving Grounds, and the second was the Battelle Memorial Institute, BMI, a sort of one-stop shopping mall for everything military. BMI is allegedly a nonprofit CIA and military contractor involved in vaccine acquisitions and development. It also administers and supplies bioweapons facilities at Dugway Proving Grounds, including their main aerosol germ testing structure they euphemistically call the Life Sciences Building. Based on extensive evidence, BMI appeared to be the only anthrax supplier staffed with the resources, human and otherwise, capable of producing the hyper-weaponized anthrax that was mailed. BMI developed a specific AIM strain of powdered anthrax that was twice as concentrated as anything the Soviets had ever produced. Plus, it was electromagnetized to spread easily and rapidly. This work was done under a top-secret CIA bioweapons program an anonymous Pentagon official called Project Jefferson. William Broad of the New York Times twice reported this project was named Clear Vision. I telephoned William Broad after emailing him for months. We spoke of Vattel's lab